Hey, I'm here today to answer the question, should I save more or should I pay off debt? My name's Michael Hollis. I'm a financial planner with Tapestry FP, where we help people make their money mean something. I am here to answer questions that real people ask. I messaged friends and family and asked, what's the financial question that stumps you? I got a reply from somebody that I've known for several years. They wanted to know, how do I know whether I should be saving or paying off debt? And for them, it was in the context of planning to buy a house. This was a real stumper for them. And so I thought I'd answer that. Just to be clear, I have a debt-free bias, so you'll probably hear that come through. When you have a clear understanding about which thing you should do, pay off debt or save, you can make progress. Without that, it's really tough to make progress. What is savings? Well, savings is storing up for later. And we often think about an emergency fund for the unexpected, or saving up for something like taxes or a vacation or college. Debt, on the other hand, is purchasing today when we don't have any money or not enough money. We're spending ahead or just spending more than what we have. What stops us from either saving or paying off debt? First, we don't save more oftentimes because we just don't have any extra. There's nothing more to go around. It's just not possible for us. Also, things come up. We might have been tucking some money away for a vacation and there was a major car repair. That was the only place where we had some money to pay for that, so we took it out of the vacation fund and used it to repair the car. 3, we just don't really have a good, clear reason. I don't know. I know I should be saving, but I'm not sure what for. 4, things seem really far off. It might be retirement, it might be college, it might be buying a car. Things just seem far off, and so it's hard to get started. It's hard to feel motivated to save. And finally, we're not sure how. We don't know what account to use, what bank is good, how do we get the money in there? And so those can all be barriers to savings. On the debt side, some of the same problems or some of the same challenges. First, we're like, I can't pay off debt. I don't have any more to go around. I'm already making the minimums, or maybe I'm not even able to make that. I don't have any left, so I can't pay off debt. 2, maybe we don't even know what all debt we have out there. This happens. I've met with clients that they don't have a good sense of the entire picture of their debt. 3, maybe the payments are manageable, and so we're just not really feeling a huge sense of motivation to pay off that debt because it's kind of like, I can get by. 4, cash feels very safe. We might have a bunch of cash in the bank, maybe enough to even pay off our debt, but that cash feels really safe, and so we don't want to use it to pay off debt. Another good one is we're waiting for forgiveness. Student loan programs out there, if you're working in public service, you make 120 payments, you can have your student loans forgiven. And I've known a couple people who are waiting for that forgiveness. They don't want to pay off the debt now in hopes that that's going to happen. And lastly, you're not sure how to pay off debt. You don't know which account to pay off first. How much more should you put towards it? And so just not really having a good plan stops you from being able to make progress. The last thing that sort of gets in the way is debt mindset. We have a pervasive debt mindset in our culture. Debt's normal, debt's necessary, credit scores really equal success, and we all love rewards. And so all those factors tend to be other hurdles that get in the way of paying off debt. So back to the question, which one should we do first? Well, they both require giving up something today. Here's our options. I'll just paint them on a spectrum, right? We could go on one side, 0 savings and 100% debt payoff. Other end of the spectrum, 100% savings, 0 debt payoff. I don't really like either of those. Putting them out there really kind of crystallizes like, no, that's not what I would choose. We could go right in the middle, 50-50. It's like, okay, maybe that makes some sense. Or we could do minimal debt payments and maximize our savings as much as we can. Or we could just have a little bit of savings and then maximize our debt payoff. So in my mind, those are the options. And so I'm really curious to hear, like, when you hear those options, like, does one jump out at you as like, that's the one I should do? And I'm going to pose this question to help you figure that out. Which one costs more? And by costs, I don't just mean costs money, but also which one costs more stress, which one costs more stability, and see how that guides you to which one you should do first. And so I'm going to suggest that you take the approach of saving a little bit and then maximizing your debt payoff. And here's what I mean by that. You're going to start off by having enough in a very small emergency fund that's going to cover, 70% of the unexpected things that are going to come up in your life. And so I put that number at 1,000. If you put that a little bit higher, that's fine. Some people go as high as all of their deductibles. I don't tend to do that. I tend to keep it more in the $1,000 range, because that's going to provide you enough financial backstop to weather a lot of the things that are going to come up. And then really go after that debt. And part of the reason why I take that approach is because this is mostly a behavioral thing. And so having this set up gives you some foundational financial protection, but also hopefully lights a fire under your butt to get after this debt and get it gone. With that focus then on that debt, that focus allows you to make progress. When you're trying to do too many things, it's really hard to make progress. It's really hard to see progress. And so that's why I shy away from the 50-50 idea. And when you make progress, you're going to free up margin that much more quickly. And that extra margin, that extra financial margin, equals a lot more freedom and a lot more peace. You're going to be able to do things that you had only hoped to do with debt, and you're not going to need the debt anymore. Now, I prefer the debt snowball method because I think it gives you quick wins. And I've done the comparison several times with clients that have had, 5, 6, 10 debts to pay. And the difference in the number of months that it takes if they attack it quickly, it really is not that much. So I prefer the debt snowball method because the psychological quick wins and the building payments going towards debt, you just really feel the progress. So one of the big questions related to this savings versus debt that comes up is, hey, what about my 401k match? And here's what I'll say about that. Ask yourself the question, which one of them is going to be more life-changing? Is that match going to be more life-changing, or is that debt payoff going to be more life-changing? Now, if you're planning to take 5 years to pay off your debt and you're getting a 3% match on $100,000 for 5 years, that's $15,000. That's a tough pill to swallow. But that's why I want the fire lit. I don't want you getting this debt done 6, 12, 18 months, maybe 24 months tops. I really want you going after this. And I think as you start to do that, then which one's more life-changing starts to really matter. And the debt payoff, in my mind, starts to be really attractive. And so, I've advocated people stop their 401k contributions if they're going to be serious, committed, focused, and get that thing knocked out. If you're not going to do that, you got to really think twice there. How about a home? Should I save more, or should I pay off more debt to afford a home? Well, buying a home is your biggest financial decision outside of getting married. And so the more debt payments you have, the more that's going to squeeze both what you can afford and then how you feel in an ongoing basis with that payment. And so before you buy, I think it's really wise to have all of your debt, all your consumer debts paid off. Have a fully funded emergency fund, not just that smaller one that we started with, and have a down payment. And it's really hard to do all of that if you're carrying a bunch of other debt payments. And so that's why I strongly prioritize that debt payoff. Get all of that stuff out of your life so that you free up as much margin as you can to both create that down payment, to be able to afford the house that you're looking for, and to not feel squeezed. Because when you feel squeezed month to month and you have a mortgage and a house and something comes up, I mean, it can really steal your peace. And so I want you to feel like being a homeowner is a blessing and not something that you regret. So having clarity about what you're going to do, whether it's pay off debt or whether it's save, allows you to make a decision and make progress. So, and that's why I help families answer a whole bunch of financial questions that keep them up at night. If you have any other questions about whether to pay off debt or whether to save, email questions@tapestryfp.com or go to our website and submit a question through our inquiry.